Good evening, beautiful peoples. Recorded by Richter here, back with a brand new music segment for you. And as promised, I wanted to come back with this Raekwon story time, if you will. If you're unfamiliar with Raekwon, you must not follow hip-hop because Raekwon is part of the most legendary hip-hop group of all time, Wu-Tang Clan. And I had an amazing experience with a Raekwon concert that ended up being much more than just a concert back when I was 23 in 2011. So for context, I have a close friend of mine. His name's John. I won't say his last name because I'm not sure if he's into the whole public stuff like this, but he used to work for a company, or he might still, I'm not sure, whose boss was the marketing manager and worked directly for Raekwon and Ghostface Killah. So one day back in 2011, when I was still delivering pizzas at the time, I got a phone call from John, and John said, "Hey dude, I hope you don't have to work tonight because I just got these meet and greet tickets to go see Raekwon tonight in Pontiac. And if you're interested, you can come along with me." And so I freaked out. I did have to work that night, but I was able to call a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, and get that shift covered. So I was able to make it out to this concert, right? So John and I, we go about our day, we pack up the car, we head out to Pontiac, and we're told to meet at the hotel that it's gonna be at, or the hotel that Raekwon is staying at, more I should say. So that's what happens. We go to this hotel, we see Raekwon's tour bus out in front, and we're directed to go to the lobby, and that's where we're greeted by John's boss. Raekwon's nowhere to be seen so far. It's John's boss there, and he says, this is all on us, so get whatever you want to drink, get whatever you want to eat, and we're gonna hang out here because this was still very early in the day, and the show wasn't until much later at night. The show didn't be until like 11 or 10 or 11 o'clock at night at the Eagle Room in Pontiac. And so anyhow, it's during the day, so we're like, all right, sweet, we'll get some lunch and all this fun stuff. And so we order our drinks, and we're getting Bombay and juice and wine, and his boss ordered one of every appetizer on the menu. I started to realize right then that this was going to be a night where we felt like rock stars, and it proceeded to be. So John and I are already getting pretty lit, and mind you, this was when I was still very much in my drinking days. I'm 2.5 years sober now, but this was very much in my drinking days. And so, we're drinking from 2 in the afternoon on and trying to pace ourselves, but it's difficult because, everything is on the house. So we're doing our best. And so we're eating, we're drinking. And before Raekwon came down, his opening act, who was also an artist that was going to be on his Ice H2O label, Doughy Rock, came down. At that time, he was going by Mean Doe Green. And he was the coolest guy ever, man. He sat with us, chopped it up with me and John all day. I became fast friends with Doughy Rock, and we, even after that show, we talked to each other on Twitter for years after that. And unfortunately, he died in 2020, and it really bummed me out. It broke my heart when I saw that news. And so I just wanted to say rest in peace to Doughy Rock. He was a Sacramento rapper. If you've never had the pleasure of hearing Doughy Rock, he is incredibly gifted. So go check out his music. It's up on the streaming platforms. I'm sure you can get his stuff on Discogs and stuff like that. So please go support Doughy Rock any way you can, because he was one of a kind. But anyhow, so we're chopping it up with Doughy Rock. We're talking about music and all this other stuff. And I'm kind of like an encyclopedia on music talk. So if someone gets a conversation going about music, I can hang with the best of them. And so we proceed to continue drinking, continue eating, and eventually Raekwon and his manager Kay come down, and they stopped in at the lobby for a second, but they weren't sitting with us, and they had things going on and they were kind of busy. And so we proceeded to just kind of continue where we were at. We didn't want to interrupt the vibe, but they went out to the tour bus that was parked out front. So we finally end up going out to the tour bus because we're told we can go out there and meet Raekwon and go hang out with these fellas for a little bit. And Raekwon's entourage was very small. I thought that was something that was kind of interesting about him. He didn't roll with a big group. Raekwon was not very iced out. He was dressed very regularly. And so we're ushered on to the tour bus, and in there is Raekwon, his manager Kay, which I believe is his brother, but don't quote me on that. For some reason I have it in my head that it's his brother. And anyhow, we go on there. You know, at the time I was smoking a lot of weed, so I brought some weed with me because I'm like, if I get to meet him, I want to try to smoke with Raekwon, this and that. And so we go on there, we chop it up. They're kind of, you know, in chill mode. We didn't want to be too extra and like grilling them and asking them a million questions. So John and I tried to play it as cool as possible, even though we were very drunk and very young at the time, at 23 years old. And so his manager Kay is like, y'all want to smoke? And so we're like, of course we do. So I start rolling up some weed that I brought, and I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this. So I'm rolling up weed that I brought, and Kay's like, let me see what you brought. And so I showed him the weed. He's like, wait here 1 second. He goes to the back bedroom area on the tour bus, comes back with a jar of like the keefiest, crystaliest, amazing weed I've ever seen. He's like, you can roll? I'm like, yep. He's like, roll this shit up. I'm like, all right. So they give me some blunts to roll it up, and I'm rolling all these blunts, and I start passing around blunts. And I'm like trying to take all this in while it's happening. I'm like, I am literally in a blunt rotation with Raekwon, the fucking chef from Wu-Tang Clan. He is smoking weed that I just rolled. This is crazy to me. And so I'm just kind of, you know, super fanning out in my head, still trying to play it cool. They mentioned being hungry. So they ask us what we're doing for dinner, what our plans are, if we're staying at the hotel, and we were like, no, honestly, we just drove down here. We had no real concrete plans other than hopefully meeting you and then going to the concert. He's like, well, the concert's not till much later. You know, it's 6 o'clock in the evening at this point. And he's like, we're going across the street to Papa Vino's for dinner. And they freaking invited John and I to dinner with them at Papa Vino's. So John and I go across the street and eat dinner with Raekwon, his manager, John's boss, and their small entourage. And we're pretty toasty by this point. You know, they're ordering all kinds of stuff off the menu. I believe this is embarrassing, but I think the waitress asked something about like if there were celebrities or something, and I was like, this is Raekwon the chef from Wu-Tang Clan or some dumb shit like that. And they were like, yo, chill. And I was like, all right. And then I had to like lock it down. I remind myself like, yo, don't get too crazy. You're trying to make an impression here. And well, I'm 23. What do you want from me? These guys have been feeding me drinks all day. And so we're ordering food, eating with them. He's asking us questions about different hip hop. At the time, I was real into Wiz Khalifa because Wiz was on that crazy mixtape run. So I'm mentioning Wiz, but I think he was overall impressed by how much I knew about so much different kinds of music. And I think he even said something to me about, you know, I should employ you just to be my music guy. And I was like, I will quit my job right now. And he had a good laugh out of that. We took pictures at Papa Vino's. I'll put that up right here. And then we continue to, you know, chill, have a couple more drinks there, and then go back across to the tour bus hotel area. And he's like, so I think he recognized how drunk we were at the time. He's like, how are y'all getting to the show? And we were like, you know, originally we were gonna drive, but I think we'll probably end up calling a cab. And he's like, no, fuck all that, get on the bus. And so we get on the tour bus with them, and we roll out to the venue with them. And by this time, you know, the sun's gone down. It's like 8 or 9 o'clock. We don't know what time he's going on. Doey Rock is with us the whole time too. He was at dinner with us. He's on the tour bus with us. And I was kind of glad to have him too, because he was just kind of making me feel welcome the whole day. And so we roll out to the venue. There's plenty of time in between getting to the venue and him going on. Doey Rock was the opener, but they escort us through the back door, up these staircases. You know, the crowd is packed in there already, but they escort us to this private bar on the second or third floor. And it was completely empty, like no one was up there. And that was like basically gonna serve as Raekwon's green room until he went on. So we're up there, and then all of a sudden they bring us like boxes of champagne and fifths of Ciroc vodka. And they're giving us our own fifths and our own bottles of champagne. It was like the total celebrity treatment. It was crazy. We're popping champagne, we're taking shots of Ciroc, and we're chilling it up, smoking weed inside, because at this time it was still really new that you couldn't smoke cigarettes inside. So it was still kind of laxed in that department. People were still smoking cigarettes inside. People were drinking and smoking weed inside. So it was kind of a crazy environment, and we're back there chilling with these guys. We weren't bothering Raekwon this whole time, by the way. We're talking to other people. John and I have each other. We got Doughy Rock. We have John's boss, who couldn't have been cooler. I wish I could remember his name, but this was like 15 years ago. And so we're back there chilling, and then Doughy Rock's like, all right, it's my turn. I got to go up there. It's my set. And so Doughy Rock goes and performs. We watch him from the third floor balcony. And man, Doughy smoked his set. He was so good, and it blew my mind how he was able to drink all night or day with us and then go out there and just rip down the stage. And it really left an impression on me. And I bought Doughy's CD off him, and I used to bump it constantly in my car. I was looking for it before we started, but I couldn't figure out where I had it. So hopefully I can find it, and I'll post a picture in here or something like that. But we're up there, and now it's time for Raekwon to go on, and it's like 11 o'clock at night by the time Raekwon's about to go on. And they were like, the managers and that were like, where are you about to watch the show from? Are you gonna stay up here? And we were like, I guess we'll probably just watch it from up here. And they're like, no, follow us. And Raekwon waves us over, so we follow them, and we end up right on stage behind Raekwon and his DJ, watching the show from on stage. I've got the proof. I'll show you the picture right here. It was insane. Me and John are up there looking like the drunkest white boys ever, drinking champagne, taking shots of Ciroc, a bottle of each in our hands, and we watch Raekwon perform from the stage. It was totally mind-blowing. Now at the time he was promoting, and I can't remember if this CD had just come out or if he was about to drop it, but this is Shaolin versus Wu-Tang. Bring that up there like that for you. This album is crazy. It's got Method Man on here, you got Ghostface on here, Inspector Deck is on here, Estelle, Busta Rhymes, Jim Jones, Nas, Lloyd Banks, Rick Ross, Black Thought. Man, this album is stacked, and this is a really dope album if you've never heard this. Raekwon has a super impressive solo catalog of music, and it was just one of the greatest nights of my life. The concert gets over, we hop back on the bus with them, they drop us back off at the hotel, we kick it for a while in the lobby and try to sober up a bit, and then end up finally going home after a while. But it was one of the greatest nights of my entire life. They treated us it's hard to put into words. They were so kind to us, they were so cool to us. They did not treat us like a couple of fans. They treated us like we belonged, and that left such a lasting impression on me. I think about it all the time, and I remember posting it on Instagram once, the photo of me and Raekwon from inside Papa Vino's, and he liked it and reshared it once, and I just thought that was super cool. And I just can't say enough good things about those guys and how impressive they were. None of them were when we went to Papa Vino's, none of them were really iced out or anything like that. They didn't have any of the jewelry on until it was time to hit the stage. So they were just kind of some humble dudes, man. And aside from that, I just wanted to take the opportunity to also say, go listen to Raekwon's new album, The Emperor's New Clothes. It came out on Mass Appeal. It's part of this whole rollout that Nas is doing with Mass Appeal, where they're releasing all these projects from different legends. You have a Big L Hashimus album coming out on that label. You have the Ghostface Supreme Clientele Part 2 that just happened. You had the Slick Rick project. You have a Mobb Deep project that's going to be happening on there. And I feel like there's a couple other ones that I might have been missing there, but shout out to Nas for what he's continuing to do with his platform and with his voice. He's just been incredible. In his second act, he's given us 6 albums in 3 years with Hit Boy, and then has gone on to drop all this stuff with Mass Appeal. So I just think that that's so impressive and so awesome. He's the GOAT. He's the greatest rapper of all time. And Raekwon as well, man. Raekwon, another GOAT, another certified legend. And yeah, Shaolin versus Wu-Tang. Ghostface Killah Supreme Clientele 2 is out right now. Raekwon Emperor's New Clothes is out right now. I wanted to be able to just tell that story. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. I've got my favorite albums so far of 2025 out that I just dropped that you can go check out. I've got my piece on Little Sims out. I've got the review of Denzel's movie Spike Lee's movie Highest to Lowest, starring Denzel, Jeffrey Wright, and A$AP Rocky. So that's where I'm at with it, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.